by special I mean heavy.
Okay, well,
And like you shape what it does, and you do that like nothing too in depth to actually make, but like still you basically make it to what it
nose ring or
is.
something? What the hell is that?
Fun fact, this weapon comes from the weapon crafting component. It's known as the evolution, but you have to craft the weapon first. Starts off as a gray, so which can have to come out.
And the one thing about it is the hard part would be choosing its exotic boost.
Why are the birds squawking
Along with
so
the
much?
perks. I mean, you can pick the perks,
I think
but
that's
the
Indigo
exotic
Mom.
boost.
And then just put this back up,
The
please.
exotic boost, they would have to do something along those lines.
The exotic perk is
That's not blue.
predetermined. So you know how the helmet system is in Warframe? Predetermined ability from each Warframe? You get to pick a certain perk and trait that comes from a different weapons or exotic legendaries and exotics alike, like masterwork stats, not like perks and traits. The masterwork stat. You know how the Crimson get the range stat?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you can put the range stat on whatever. It's just based off of the idea of its masterwork. You could pick its masterwork when it becomes an exotic, and you masterwork the fucking thing. But once you make it exotic, now comes the hard part. Making the legend not just a myth, but a legend. You gotta masterwork this shit now.
Yeah. But like, I like that idea where the exotic perk is predetermined.
Yeah, and
Wait,
it's not it's predetermined
like
by
that.
your choice. Okay,
Yeah,
so
like,
the weapons you collect
with how you shape it,
are the masterworks you get to pick. Or
with how
the
you
perks get to
shape
pick.
it, it can like cross out, or like every time you upgrade its status from like gray to green to blue to purple to exotic. You can take off the random choices of what the perk can be. So you still have some you still make some choices about it, but it's still random. There's still enough perks that it's random.
Yeah, with the perks, you know how some exotics like Surge Regime has spinning up in dual speed receiver? Dual speed retriever, I was thinking of a dog. You can if you decide to have a couple more perks on this by the end of it, they're just not as strong as if you were to have one. So like, for example, you know how the Hawkmoon exotic literally just has no perks that can be selected between the gun. It's just straight up 2 weapon traits, its special stat, transform with a slot until you rolled it to its own perk, and then 1 more stat. If you keep it like that, those stats become at the full potential they should be at. If you add more stats like Vorpal plus Slide Shot or something, so you can switch between the two, they're not as strong. They're like 75% out of strong, or 75% strength or some shit like that. But these things would be overpowered. But, like you said, 1 per account.
Yeah.
And you know what? It would be a lot of work.
Depending on, yeah, it would have to be a lot of work. It could be better than most exotics in the game. And also, it would be a lot of work for the developers to make sure they don't actually break the game.
Yeah, because some people will find a way to break it in the beginning, and then the developers will take that fun away, and then they're gonna have to figure out how to fix the gun. Cause like the Telesto, I couldn't use it when I got it at the time it came out, because it was one-tap Guardians and everything in PvE, and Gambit, and Crucible. Everything would be one-tap by it. Now it's nerfed, it's 2-tap.
But it would be like one of the most popular. Everyone would have their own unique main weapon. It would make the exotic more exotic than exotics, because
exotics are pretty common actually.
There's quite literally only one.
Huh?
And like it has some random things, and then it mostly is choice.
Sure.
Now we gotta add a hindrance.
And well, yeah, I was also thinking the exotic perks can have some like hindrances, like you have to wait. You have to wait for it to spin up to start shooting.
No,
but, like,
I mean like a really bad hindrance. Let's say it's that legendary, which is purple, and you masterwork it. If it's masterwork, it can't be upgraded further. You have to dismantle the gun, get half the resources back, and start over again from gray.
Yeah,
You have to have a good way to fuck up horribly in that.
I was thinking that if you like masterwork it before it's exotic, it's just you messed up.
Yeah, it doesn't get to be exotic and masterwork, because that would be kind of cheap. And when you masterwork it, you have to do what you do with every other exotic. An ascending shard, a bunch of bullshit, and
Yeah.
because it's an exotic and you're forming this, a cipher as well. Make it difficult a bit. Make it a little difficult, but achievable, because we get exotic from Monument of Light. Now let's create our own with the same concept.
Well, what I was thinking is a lot of people, unlike me, don't have problems with ascendant shards.
No, because you can get them from the season. You can get like 3 from the season,
they
one
could just
from
have
Gambit, Vanguard, and that. So ascendant shard is a mandatory thing to make it exotic.
They'll just have their pockets to the brim with it.
Some people will.
And
hey, Nana.
And be kind of annoying. So what I would think is to get it to exotic status, you'd need an ascendant shard.
A fly.
But for most of it, you need a lot of exotic ciphers.
Yeah.
Because that would make it a real pain. Is you have to wait a week, get a mission, do the mission in that weekend, get it back.
Not necessarily.
Well, if you want to do it as fast as you can.
If you're kind of new to the game, Red War Exotics. Once you acquire 10 or 15, you complete a triumph. That triumph rewards you with an exotic cipher.
I didn't know about that.
Red War Exotic. So, you know the little arch, square arch, the Cabal symbol? Those are exotic.
Yeah, I know what the Red War exotics are.
Yeah, and Osiris ones, I think, are exotics that count towards the cipher. I completed it. And then I did the Odyssey. And then I used the cipher on one weapon, got the cipher from there.
Also, I have an idea for a possible exotic / perk.
Hold that thought. I need to have a loot quick.
Okay. But
what do you eat? What's this plan? Actually, it's not a bad song, Mom. At 99.3? All over the cliffs of your heart. Because then that means the moon blocks us fire and makes the heart all black and dark inside. Just out of stuff. Alright, Smalls, carry on. And before you do, I was thinking, one Warlock weapon, one Titan weapon, one Hunter weapon. Only available to those class characters, and you have to switch between all of them.
Yeah. It was either that or if it's too easily made very powerful. Not like overly broken, but like very powerful where it's basically the smartest thing to use if you build it right. If it becomes too powerful, you can make it just one per account.
Yeah, no.
But at the start, it's one per character.
Yeah, we may have to rework it.
But I have like a general exotic idea.
Yeah, because that would be nice.
A devourer.
Well, get a thorn.
Well, like you can put guns into it and get perks and use those perks for it.
Actually.
And exotics would be the most costly.
I have a thought for that. You know how once you collect an exotic, you just require it for
that is a lot more guards than
and it's at 1100. Acquire things like the thorn, the crimson.
Like 52,000 guards just decide they're gonna spawn in.
Just acquire all of the exotics that you're collecting that you've already earned and dismantle them. Or use it as a research Because it'll be at 1100 or some crap. It's that base power, it has nothing useful. It's not your personal exotic. And just scrap it for research to get the perk out of it. But the perk itself, you know. Are you thinking of are you thinking of making an exotic based around the Warlock Devourer?
So here's what the exotic's gonna do. You can put a gun in it and it'll put a perk. And if it's an exotic, it'll cost that exotic.
Yeah, it will destroy the exotic completely.
And a couple materials, because well, you can make some broken stuff. This one would require a lot more balancing than the last one.
One exotic,
but
25
it's basically a weapon that you can put another weapons let's take an exotic for example. That'll be easiest. An exotic. Let's say you have an exotic with a perk, but because what gun it is, it adds some limitations. You can break those limitations with the gun.
How about the pulse rifle and non-evasion swing? The 5-round burst heals an ally on death. This harsh truth. Now, what type of perk? Are you talking about the yellow perk, or are you just talking about the perk trait that's on the top of the weapon beside that barrel?
It depends on the weapon.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you were to make like a hand cannon and put harsh truth on it, a 5-round burst hand cannon that heals when an ally dies is kind of rude as hell. But that would be fun. But that's rude. Now, Last Stand. Improved weapon performance and greatly increases the recovery stat when the wielder is the last of a member of the fire team. That's useful too. That's why I was wondering. Like, so it depends on the weapon. So a Last Stand hand cannon. Ooh.
For my idea is if it was legendary or lower, you could pick one of the perks the legendary weapon has, and then put it on that weapon. And you could devour two legendaries to get 2 perks out of it.
Exotic. But I know what you mean.
But if no legendaries. I mean the purple weapons.
Okay.
And then if it's an exotic, some exotics it won't work. Otherwise, it'll completely break the game. Obviously.
Yeah, because
like the exotic exclusive perk can go on that gun. It's just you can't put any legendary perks on it or anything. So it'll have 3 instead of 4 perks plus that legendary. I mean not legendary, exotic perk.
Because you know what would be stupid? What's going?
I really want to shoot this. It's just a bike full of propane tanks.
One exotic weapon, you make this a good one. What we're saying is you take a legendary weapon or an exotic, depending on the exotic's main weapon trait or yellow special perk at the bottom there. You basically take that exotic, offer it as a resource to wherever this has to go down, plus some resources. You know how an exotic from 0 to 25, 27 legendary
he's talking about the first gun idea, not the Devourer.
No,
so,
I know. I'm talking about the whole thing in general.
Yeah.
The mechanic is you take a legendary, you take an exotic, you destroy it.
Alright.
To this altar or whatever, where you build your own weapon, and you get a perk or trait out of the weapon that you can put onto the weapon once you get it to masterwork.
Alright.
Well, you have to think about it like this. It needs a catalyst skill.
And also,
now, here's the thing, not all weapons work. You know how Conclave doesn't allow immortal
Sounds
frames?
good.
Not everything is allowed. Izanagi's Burden's perk is not allowed. To consume an entire magazine of 100 and some rounds, let's say, of a heavy machine gun or a rocket launcher into one shot is a little overkill. To consume a wither horde, so weapons cause impact of blight, and put it into a sniper rifle is a little overkill. Now, if you use the break the bank idea instead of Primeval's Torment, because I think if you use Blight, Primeval's Torment with Wither Horde, that's not bad, but break the bank. Blighted targets take damage over time and blight the nearby area when they die. That's a little excessive on, let's say, any weapon, like an SMG. Because then you're spraying blight, like you're spraying a Wither Horde like it's a Gatling gun. That's not allowed.
But
it would be fun, but that's not allowed.
What I was thinking, because I thought exactly what you thought, Dragon, is you can, I like the altar idea, by the way, G. You can use it, and then you have to put it on the altar to upgrade it, but when you're upgrading it to exotic, it's going to count as an exotic, even as a gray. So you can't, like, it is an exotic, it's clearly gray, but it's not allowed to be equipped with other exotic weapons.
Until it's at the exotic state and you masterwork it. It gets that other trait, but the masterwork you pick the trait or some beforehand.
That's what I was also thinking as a trait. Eventually, you could get when you fully do it. Is that exotic can be equipped with other exotic weapon? Basically, it doesn't have an exotic perk, but it can be equipped with one, and it's almost as strong as one. It just doesn't have the same perk.
You know what would be nice?
And
you know what would be
I was
nice?
also thinking there would be an armor version of it as well.
Make an armor piece, make a weapon piece. Make two and two that synergize with each other. I would call it the evolution. Or
the evolution exotics.
The ever
That's what I would call them both, because you probably should be able to be able to name the weapon you made.
You can name it when you masterwork it.
Yeah.
Until then, it's just known as prototype. From there on out, and then it's prototype type 2, type 3, 4, prototype advanced, name it.
Yep.
That way you know what's what. And here's another thing. Ariana's Vow, if you dismantle that, looks can kill. The weapon fires ammunition that are shield piercing, comes with the scope, strong against barrier champions. That's not a bad perk. You can put them on a sniper, because it already has a scope. But death at first glance is not a perk you should be able to use.
Because, like, some exotic perks, plus their exclusive little trait, like, I was thinking you could choose between that, but if you choose the lesser trait, as long as it doesn't need the other perk, which obviously you wouldn't be able to pick it if it doesn't work without the trait. But the little trait, if you pick that, you could probably put one more perk on it.
Well, you got weapon perks up top, and then you have the intrinsic stat at the bottom. Plus, weapon tier, whatever. But
well, that extrinsic that bottom one, you could pick that, but then you'll have only 3 traits, and that one at the bottom.
Yeah, you'll have the intrinsic trait, and then you'll have
those 3 traits. Those 3 traits. The exotic one, and you can pick like one more trait off of like a legendary weapon.
Yeah.
But you can't do 2 exotic traits though.
With your weapon, there's 4 perks plus a tractor, barrel, magazine, a weapon trait, and the grip. The weapon trait, if it works with the exotic, you can't have both together. Because here's the thing. I'm using Ariana's Vow as an example with putting it on like a sniper, because Ariana's Vow is the sniper hand cannon. And what if it even has max range and impact? You don't need it on a sniper. But what if your sniper has like a grip that increases stability, or a barrel that increases stability and whatnot, so you can make it really stable instead of kicking like a horse? Death at first glance and its intrinsic work so well together, they should not be allowed. Death at first glance is bonus damage when you ADS, which on a sniper you should always aim down sight.
Here's another problem with it.
And it stays that way if you keep it a headshot.
Imagine those on a shotgun, or an assault rifle,
or slug shotgun. But that's the thing, it can't be a slug shotgun. If you do use any of these perks, like from Ariana's Vow on a shotgun, that shotgun gets gimped to being a pellet spread.
Yeah, but like, cause I was thinking you either can have the exotic's weapon, a unique weapon trait, or you can have its little trait down there. If they need each other to work, you probably can't pick that weapon in the first place, because those are often the most powerful exotics.
Yeah, Ariana's Vow was a seasonal exotic, so like those 2 traits, if you shouldn't be able to put them on a made weapon, because it came from a season.
The weapon
you can have one of the 2, but you can't have both.
The armor might be a little more lighter on that though, because the armor doesn't always have as powerful.
Armor is kind of trash half the time, to be honest.
So like you'll get a lot more options, and it'll be like 20 times easier to do it.
Yeah. The chest piece will be easier to make. The weapon, if we're going down that route, one per account.
Yeah, because like you could shape the weapon to be any weapon. You could shape the armor to be arm, helmet, cape. It could be like the one and only cape / warlock bond / cloth
class armor you can have. There is no such thing as an exotic bond, cloak, or mark. That's what it's called. Yeah, they don't exist. So that would be cool. That'd be cool to make your own little exotic cloak. I feel bad for the warlocks because they get the tiniest little armband, but hey, it's exotic.
And what I was thinking is maybe the make your own armor one could automatically be a class armor.
Fair.
Because first off, most armors are meh, and the class armor doesn't have any like add-ons like resilience thing. So this one would be like a really good exotic with its exotic trait and its what can go on it?
Like what can and can't, because I'm already thinking if I have a cloak, I have the trait from the Mask of Bacchus. I don't no longer require to wear the Mask of Bacchus to stasis teleport. I can just put the cloak on, Masterwork cloak, keep my Masterwork helmet for the 10 extra stats, because obviously my exotics don't get Masterwork, and then I just carry on that way. I'll have the Mask of Bacchus on my back. I'll have whatever helmet on my head, Masterwork, arms, chest, legs. The cloak comes Masterwork when you complete everything for it, when you create an armor.
That's the point of it.
And then I use stasis, and I already have 100 recovery. I could then make that mask cloak thing.
But you can choose whether or not we'll say cloak just because we don't instead of
I'm using 100. I don't have a warlock enough.
So you can choose to either have a full strength exotic trait / their special
only
thing.
If that's the case, only the one exotic.
Or you can have a weakened version, but like the best bond to ever exist. Best hood because it has those added stats as if it's any of the other armors. Or it's a plain old bond that's also an exotic with some traits.
Yeah, that's fair. Because I wouldn't mind someday getting the Master back and doing that, but at the same time, I also wouldn't mind having it on your Cordis thrown somewhere, but not necessarily on my chest.
And also, part of the point of the create your own armor is which this might have a couple more restrictions on it, but like, let's say you're a warlock, and
just knock out the civilian. That's smart.
You want high movement, so you put on your make your own exotic warlock bond that
I was gonna say,
has the Frosties trait. The Frosties is a hunter armor, but
a
tries to hit bad guy.
My character immediately punches a civilian in the face, right in the teeth.
If you're gonna make a warlock exotic pants, you can't have hunter exotic pants on those pants because that's not technically allowed. At that point, you might as well just take the exotic and throw it on a different character. It has to be a class armor.
I was thinking that, but like,
it's not a bad idea. You have to restrict it pretty good, because then people are gonna do some stupid things like not necessarily. Yeah, no, you think of Frosty. Stompies is the one we all use. But Frosty's when you sprint, you get the super energy.
If the exotic has to do with its own class's ability that only that class has, it's not going to work for other classes. So it's going to be restricted to other classes.
Well, cross counter from Live Handshake would then be usable for you, because that's only deal extra damage and regenerate health when you get hit or punched from arcs. But the one that you can't use would be Young Almacar's Grasp. Increase Trip Mine Grenade. Or Star the Gown or Blade Barrage Super Energy. You would then not be able
wouldn't be able to duplicate those on his side, and also another reason why it would be allowed for them to use other class things is they only can make one armor,
Yeah,
exotic
so make
armor.
it good. Make it a good
So
one.
if they're gonna make a Frosty's one, I mean, yeah, you have that extra movement. That was the waste of your one use.
Well, Frosty's isn't actually as useless as you think it is,
Well,
but
no, cause like
it just
if
gives you
you end up
super energy
changing,
when you sprint.
if
Stompies is the increased slide, jump, and sprint speed. Just so you're aware.
I
Yeah.
meant Stoppies.
Okay, yeah, that
Stompies.
one, but sprint, slide, and jump it. There you go. Yeah. No, that's fair.
But like,
Um,
they both ended in E, okay?
they
But
do.
like,
They both end with the EE5. Yeah. So like other ones you wouldn't be able to use would be like Winston's Best because that's Spectral Blades, Arc Staff.
and
But 6 Coyote would be usable, gain a second
I
dodge
mean, it'd
charge.
be a bit of a pain, but it would still be really easy to make a mistake. Like you pick the wrong
Well,
exotic from another class,
just fuck up.
like Stompies, and then
Frosties.
well,
That only
I
gives you super energy when you sprint, by the way.
oh like Frosties, that would be great on some classes,
Right.
but like. You could be a warlock that just has to do some sprinting, and
right?
then you could throw your Nova Bomb again.
Yeah, is this server?
Or like a Titan that could just run around and all of a sudden you can be a missile again.
No, it's not. I'm gonna borrow this.
It has a lot of potential. It could be very good. I mean, it would require a bit of attention, but I don't think Bungie's too afraid of that.
You can't get dual, throwing knives, but if you use the 6 Coyote, you gain a second dodge charge. If you use the 1 dodge...
Well, I was thinking, like, because there are exotics about this. Like, if you get an extra dodge charge,
Yeah,
when you
get
use
2.
that on another class, you get an extra well charge or an extra shield.
Well, I think you just get straight up an extra dodge, but what does Stasis Warlocks get for a melee?
They get all sorts of stuff. The one I
What's the
use,
good one?
I think the good one is you basically pull out your staff and it shoots this little
You
ball
shoot
that
the
freezes.
projectile. Okay,
Yeah.
you shoot the projectile. Okay, now you get to do that twice.
Yeah. I
But
know.
instead of using Ophidius Spades, which I plugged it in over here, weighted knife knife charge 2 charges, you would have to go about it around that and use 6 Coyote to gain a second dodge charge. Just switch your dodge to the one that gives you your melee, and then you're fine.
Yeah.
And then you do that,
But, like,
and then you get
I was thinking
that would be
because
worth it.
the dodge charge thing is really just the circle ability, so really it just would
Exactly,
give you a
it's your
second
class.
circle ability.
Yes, but that's useful for a lot of things. Like as a hunter, I can use Ophidius Spade and get 2 instant knives to throw, kind of how Stasis gets 2 ninja stars. I can do
Yeah.
that for sword classes, but if I use 6 Coyote, I now get 4 Withering Blades. They already
Yeah.
start off with 2 throwing ninja stars of ice.
Alright.
Now I get 2 dodges.
Yeah. Hold your
Yeah.
thought real quick. I gotta throw something away.
Oh, okay. And it's gone. It happens to me a lot. I'm not even gonna lie to you. And speaking of Ophidius Spade, I think I'm gonna run that. I like having 2 throwing knives. Technically, I got 3 throwing knives.
You know,
Yeah.
I've realized I'm very much prepped to be a game developer. I'm actually pretty good at coding. I'm also good at math, which I guess can help. And I'm good with these ideas, you know?
Yeah.
I want to make a gun that does that. The flashbang gun. I want to make a flashbang gun.
Hey,
You get hit by it. You get
hit.
hit every time you get hit. Like the first time you get hit, you get flashed, and the more you get hit, the longer the flash remains.
Well, one
But
sec.
it'll
Hunter,
have a cooldown.
You are the blade. You are the balance. You cut through the air with poison grit. Your hands are quick. Your feet are light. You strike like silent lightning. Your light shines like a glistening edge in the sun. You are the snake.
I'm
You
back.
are level and silent. You move with perfect. Your enemies feel fear in your presence. Your fangs are sharp and quick. No, this is Ophidius Spade. Your eyes are clear and your wrath is blinded. You are the blade. You are the snake. Strike, shimmer, survive. Cool. Well, Ophidius Spade, once you get an ornament kit for it, well, Ophidius Spade has 2 knives in the chest, okay? 2 blades. And it has a snake that coils around the blade. And the snake is literally wrapped around the blades on the chest piece of Ophidius Spade. But the top thing says, listen carefully when the serpent speaks, for its tongue is forked and its words have 2 meanings. It's like, cool.
Well, like,
Small, you weren't here when I read it. You want to hear the Mask of Bactress one?
Sure.
I like this one. It's probably my favorite. I'm not even gonna lie. And hold that thought one more time. The top part is I cast on my carapace to be reborn, just like a glorious wreath. Atrax 1. Fallen. Exo. He is a fallen made an exo. Just so we're aware. And it's not a he, it's a she. Okay, there we go. No, leave her be. Praxis foresaws this. You will be silent. Don't listen to him, Atrax. Focus on my voice. That is not you, Atrax. It is not. Do not turn away. The body belongs to someone else. It wears a mask. Just a mask. Take the mask off. Reach down and touch it. Good. Now take it off. Pull harder. This imposter is clever. The mask is affixed. You must cut it free. Take this blade. Do not hesitate. Do not poke. Chop it. Smash it. Yes. Good. More. More. Wet your hands in this imposter's gore. Spread it about. Good. There. You have it now. You have removed the mask. Does this look like your body now? No, it is an empty thing. I will take the mask and clean it. When others wear it, you will not see your face in it. You will know it is a mask. It is a mask of Bactress. Basically, a fallen was forced into an exosuit, like an elixir was turned into an exo, and her name is Atrax. Bactress is a person who wears this mask. Actually, Bactress is a person that prepared this mask, so this exo can wear her face over her exo face. Because when the fallen don't have the means like exos do on Europa from Clovis Race to create themselves as an exo, they had to forcibly put the fallen into an exo body by force. And when they come about, they're kind of traumatized about it. So Atrax cut off her own face as an exo, cut off her own face off her own body. Bactress, in the Deepstone Crypt, which is a raid, turned her face into a mask that can be worn by all. But it was meant to cover the robotic exo face. So Atrax only saw the mask and not a robotic face because she was having a hard time getting over the fact that she's dead and she's alive. There you go. It's really cool. Okay, so Atrax,
like, hello there. Just peeks out of nowhere and shoots me in the face.
He was killed.
I'm gonna keep on trying this, probably do some sort of glitch to kill them all immediately.